Hello, loves. Hope you're doing well during this rebirthing process that's occurring. I've been speaking about it for the divine feminines, but it's become very apparent that this transformative rebirthing process is also coming through for the divine masculine collective. And today I'm going to go into some of the messages that have been coming through, and we're also going to pull some cards and see where it's evolving into. And with that, I've been sensing quite a significant shift for the divine masculine collective as well. And I was surprised, actually quite surprised, because you guys know here we focus very much on that self-focus, internal union, self-empowerment, regardless if you identify as masculine or feminine. I know that most of you here with me are working on those internal union energies, which is the ultimate goal, right? And so I was surprised that this came through, but then not surprised. And over the last few days, I've had these thoughts coming through of having some new sharings. And last night, I got the guidance to put on my website a personalized video recording of messages from divine masculine to the divine feminine. And it came through energetically as I sat with it that the divine masculine higher self essence is open to bringing forth messages to support the divine feminine wherever she is on her path. And obviously, I always encourage you to trust yourself above all else. So I was somewhat hesitant around this specific topic just because it gets so, people can get triggered because on one hand, they really want to connect with the divine masculine, but then they get concerned about like connecting with the divine masculine because they've heard so often to not focus on the divine masculine. And I totally get it. One of the things that I found is it is about the self-focus, but where I have seen some feminines get sort of frozen and stuck is where they start to actually try to freeze out and ignore the masculine or ignore the connection or completely stop themselves from any form of processing around the masculine. And I know for a time it can help to take your focus completely away from that. But as you move forward, as you're processing, as you're embodying, many of you will have already probably found or will find that if this is your genuine counterpart, that for any given amount of time, you're going to have to open back up and accept the connection as it sits, right? So part of the surrendering process is acceptance of the connection in whatever state it's in. Now, acceptance doesn't mean you necessarily agree with how everything is playing out, but what you can do is agree to do your part, embody, like extract the lessons from your initiation. And part of that, well, at least for me and my process, I don't know about you, but I found that meditating on it or getting messages or having experiences around processing what occurred with my masculine was where I was learning. It's where I was harmonizing. It was where I was extracting the lessons and where I was actually integrating the codes he provided with me for my internal union energies, which is how I'm able to show up here with you. If I didn't pay any attention to him at all and what he provided for me, I wouldn't be able to show up here because I would be in denial of half of my essence and energy. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, whatever is occurring with the masculine collective in their life and the physical, however they're processing their initiation, that is another part of the surrender and acceptance and just allowing them their process. Okay. And so the more you love yourself, the more patience you have with yourself and the more space and grace you have for yourself and your own process, it becomes significantly easier and almost effortless to trust that the masculine is also going through his own process. It may not look like your process. Chances are it won't because it's not meant to. Do you get what I'm saying? There's a reason that we're in a masculine role or a feminine role. And within that, we're working on the internal union energies as individuals, but it's working within the shared space all of the time. So I don't know. I have zero attachment to it, but for whatever reason that came through, I'll drop that in the pinned comments. But it does, I think it feels significant, maybe for this exact energy that I'm talking about. For so many of the feminines that have been self-focused and yet at the same time are going through this rebirthing and leveling up process, to me, I feel like it's totally appropriate to receive the support from your divine masculine's higher self essence if that's not happening in the physical world. And you can certainly check in with this at any given moment and address this on your own. I definitely know some of you have already been doing it, but it was just so strong. It really felt like I was meant to address it because it was really like rolling around in my head for a few days. Let me know if this makes sense to you. I think that most of you are probably already doing it, but I also know that there can just be those moments of uncertainty where it's sort of like, well, I'm focusing on myself and I'm moving forward for myself, but all this stuff is coming in with my divine masculine. Like, what do I do? Because I've had actually many sessions before where feminines actually felt like they were doing something wrong by thinking about their divine masculine and or they were like halting union or screwing it up. And I'm here to say absolutely not. Whatever you're in, it's all okay, right? It's really the goal is about getting to the place in space internally where you're tempered within your energies, where you're embodying that inner union. And as you do that, it'll become naturally easier to do the same in your connection. Okay. So it's sort of like whatever you're feeling in your connection is a mirror to what you can support yourself with internally. And as you resolve those energies within yourself, you will notice that they resolve within your connection. Okay. It's really beautiful in that sense that regardless of what anyone is doing, you are always empowered to continue to work on your portion. And there's really and truly nothing specific that you need the divine masculine to do to empower yourself to move forward into what it is that you are meant to do. Because if there is something that you're meant to do together, is you take those steps forward as you are called, he'll be there to meet you as it's divinely orchestrated. So any of those old thoughts or feelings that you can't move forward until the divine masculine shows up or does something different, that is actually what will keep things stuck. Okay. So you can honor that there may be something, but if that's not showing up present in your current present moment, it is because it is not time. And it's because your higher self in the divine is encouraging you to continue to expand to your next levels. There is one thing that I have learned significantly, and that is if something isn't available for me in the present moment, it's because it's not time. And number two, it's because there is something else for me to learn, achieve, experience, or do within that time frame. And what I've also found is it's always pieces of the puzzle that I needed for my own embodiment. So it's really important that if something isn't present, that you focus on unraveling any victim mode energy or victim consciousness you may have around that. Now, if you've experienced where you didn't feel supported in the past, by all means, honor whatever's coming up for you. But then you're going to want to drop back into your self empowerment and unravel whatever that pattern is. Reclaim your power and your truth and step back forward into your next steps for what is actually available for you and really drop into that self trust. And the more you trust yourself, The more you trust the divine process, it will become easier and easier and easier to trust the divine masculine, because you'll start to see that where you didn't trust him was where you were not trusting yourself or the divine. Okay. And that is, again, not in any form of judgment, because this is part of the embodiment process. For generations, we were taught not to trust ourselves, to give over our divine connection to third parties and middlemen. But we're reclaiming that, my loves. So if this is in front of you to do, by all means, embrace it, step into it, and let yourself build that muscle of self-trust. Okay. I didn't know all that was going to come in, but I do want to go deeper into now. I want to go deeper into this rebirthing process, because what was coming through, obviously, the last few videos around the divine feminine process, rebirthing, and then there was this message that came through around both and on Patreon around both divine feminine and divine masculine, like being birthed forth, but sort of each being almost in their own bubble still, almost like they were born, but still in a protective bubble, like the amniotic sac and fluid. And I know that sounds funny, but there was actually this card from the Healing Waters deck that expressed it quite beautifully, that there are actually sometimes babies who are born still with the complete amniotic sac filled with fluid intact. And these births are actually exceedingly special and magical and seen as very powerful. And the babies that are born in these situations in many cultures are revered as being seers and magical. So when that card came through, connected with these energies, to me, that was signifying where the divine feminine collectives and the divine masculine collectives are truly being birthed into their true form, their embodiment of their higher self, of their internal union, that embodiment of their true, authentic soul aspects. The more and more that they're clearing the ancestral information and clearing out the blame, the shame, and the guilt, and really embodying into unconditional truth and divine love, it's supporting this process of seeing the connections with new perspectives. Okay. And something that also feels exceedingly important that I'm guided to touch on is that a lot of times people came into these connections in a very physically intimate, romantic way. And that was part of how the divine brought you together and really created the deep soul merge and initiation. But as you're embodying into your own true essence and you're stabilizing what you've learned from that soul merge, you may find that as you're connecting with your masculine or your feminine in new ways, as you sort of go through this rebirthing process, that you're meeting up in the connection, in the reunion space in a completely and totally, entirely different way. And this is actually a positive sign, because in order to stabilize these unions in a sustainable way, because of the depth and the expanse of these connections and what they are meant to embody on this planet, most of you are probably not going to immediately rush into a full-blown romantic partnership day one. It's about the embodiment of sustaining your energies with one another, within yourself and with one another. So that self-commitment is important. And I'm not saying that it can't come into an immediate romantic partnership, but I'm saying that if you find yourself in a situation where that doesn't occur, that doesn't mean that the magic or the love or the energy is gone. It means at the soul level, you have chosen to find the most sustainable way to move forward so that you can maintain your connection and the love in the physical world. You're not just building the muscle for yourself and your own internal union. You're beginning to build those new muscles to sustain the connection in the physical world, right? So it's really, really big in terms of this embodiment of the sacred union energies onto the planet, like fully, truly embodying the new 5D ways of being, not just intellectually understanding them, but actually physically embodying them and living them in your day-to-day life. That takes a little bit of time, but it's something that's always in process. And it's something that you may be able to do it in certain pockets and then find that you kind of flip-flop. But that is part of the embodiment. When the discomfort comes up or the old energies come up, that's the opportunity to clean that up and bring in the results of who you are now and give yourself the space and grace to restabilize into the new energies. Okay. All right, wow. All right, let's see what we got. Whoa. I was pulled a mystical shaman card. Wow. Okay. And we got the earth. I've never seen this card in this deck. And what's really, really coming through to me is connected with what I just said. It's less important how it always looks, or it's less important that you're checking specific boxes. What's more important is that you are focused on the embodiment and sustaining process. In many cases, it's almost like the present purpose is not to have it perfect. It's about the co-creation. So also, as these connections come into physical reunion, you're not going to have all the answers. The masculine or the feminine are not meant to have all the answers. What's actually meant to occur in many cases is that they each have their own perspective. They come to the table, open up and share, and that provides the opportunity for the shared space in the shared co-creation. And part of that is the co-creation of how you will express your connection on earth in the physical world. And so when you can tap back in to understanding the levels and the multidimensionalness of these connections, it really can help you drop into enjoying the process of understanding actually how incredibly powerful it is and what a huge opportunity and gift it is to actually savor and appreciate the process of embodiment, to actually stepping into your true full authenticity on a planet that previously was not able to support that. That in and of itself is quite significantly powerful. And then you add to that the capacity to actually come into sacred union codes in the physical world on the earth. This is part of the purpose. It's not about the race to get to a certain place or to have your connection look a certain way on the outside. It's about what is occurring on the inside, what is embodying, what is transforming, what is being sustained. And as that occurs, it'll naturally and effortlessly shift on the external. And by the time those things are happening, you will probably care very little what anyone else thinks about you, your connection, or how you're living your life, because you will be doing it from your heart and from your soul and from your truth. All right. What else do we got? I do feel guided to pick a few more. This definitely feels to me the way the messages are coming through, it feels very much around owning your truth, owning the truth of your connection, and being comfortable with allowing the divine to orchestrate and support the furling and the blooming and the blossoming of what it's meant to be, and not trying to put what you think it's supposed to look like based on what anyone else has ever said to you. You're going to know what it's meant to feel like and be like because you're going to feel the truth in your heart, regardless of what it looks like to everyone else or anyone else for that matter. How does it feel to you? That right there is the gold. We're going to pick a few more. Wow. Okay. So we had the Queen of Wands and the Eight of Cups came out together. And this is interesting because I'm not sure how I feel. Well, give me another second. We got the Ten of Cups and the Five of Swords that came out together over here. So I actually do feel like this is the shared space. So I feel like that's why it's coming in together. So roll with me. It feels like the counterparts are really spending internally some time contemplating things. There is a moving away into the new, but it feels like part of what's being processed is the wisdom that has been won within this time. And I'm feeling the stability of this Queen of Wands. And it feels like that's what's helping this transformation and this walking away of what's not working to actually feel quite effortless because there is a stability that is strengthening between the collectives in the physical world on the earth. And for this one in the shared space, it really feels like that true reunion and the dream and the soul blueprint, core soul, true blueprint is coming to the forefront, and each are sort of severing and walking away from those old energies. Whatever was creating the discomfort, whatever was creating the discourse or the fighting. You see the swords are like being dropped and everybody's walking away, and then it's going to this new day. It's sort of like it's feeling like those inner tug of war energies. It feels like where the counterparts are coming into this internal resolution of acceptance and of that focus of remembering and feeling into what it is that they want and refocusing to trusting that it's going to be there in the divine timing. And in the meantime, tempering the energies into more harmonious union energies. So any extremes, right? When the more and more we can hold into the extremes, any extremes, and still stay strong and stable, this supports temperance. This supports the harmonization of the duality of the 3 and 4D energies. This is a signal that you know that you're embodying more and more of the 5D energies, which is what these initiations and connections have been supporting us with being able to embody into. All right, my loves, I'm going to leave it there. I don't even know. I think this one might have got a little bit long. I just want to tell you really quick. I will drop that message, that video personalized message in the pinned comment if any of you are interested. And I'm also going to be offering some new things on my Patreon uh, with special events just for Patreon members if any of you are interested in that. Either way, I hope this message was supportive. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.